Who do you think those people were? Those were not just ordinary people there. If I told you their names, I'm not going to tell you their names, but if I did, I don't think you'd sleep so well.
Broken baby doll heads and torn limbs scattered across tables. Mannequins arranged to look like corpses. And the host wearing a menacing horned mask. No, this isn't some weird horror movie. These are actual photos taken at an Illuminati ball held by none other than the Rothschilds. The leaked pictures depict a scene eerily similar to Stanley Kubrick's 1999 movie, Eyes Wide Shut. Had Kubrick himself been a witness to these elite mansion parties? Kubrick died just days after showing his film to the studio, and many believe he was killed for his daring expose. And what was in the mysterious 24 minutes the studio cut from the film after his death?
And he died a day after refusing to cut 24 minutes of it. Well, they cut it. You better believe they cut out of this film.
From ancient Luciferian rituals to cannibalism and human sacrifice, what really goes on at these elite mansion parties? Brace yourselves as we enter the real Eyes Wide Shut. The aberrant perversions of the powerful so-called elite had always been a recurring theme for Kubrick, but he took it one step further in what would end up being his final film, Eyes Wide Shut, which depicted a masked ball identical to one the Rothschilds had thrown years earlier. The year was 1972, and the Rothschild mansion outside of Paris looked like it was in flames. Huge flickering orange lights projected a fiery inferno across the main edifice. It was all part of the preparation for a masked ball they were hosting, and the guest list read like a who's who of the Illuminati. Artists, fashion designers, celebrities, and royalty were greeted by men in cat masks who guided them to the main room, where Marie Helen de Rothschild waited, wearing an elaborate deer head mask with ornate horns jutting from the top. Horned masks have historically been part of ancient pagan rituals. The invites were written backwards and required a mirror to read, reflecting Satanist Aleister Crowley's edict to do everything backwards. Creepy photos taken from the event have surfaced which show their bizarre costumes and questionable decoration. Baby dolls strewn on tables as part of the decor, demonstrating their hatred for humanity. Audrey Hepburn and another attendee wore birdcage masks, signifying MK Ultra mind control. Perhaps the weirdest picture is of men gathered around a nude female effigy, laid out on what looks to be some type of sacrificial altar. Notice the similarities to Marina Abramovic's cannibalistic cake parties, attended by the Hollywood elite, and scenes from music videos such as Katy Perry's creepy Bon Appetit. One rumor even suggested the female body was made of sugar and was actually edible. The menu from this strange event also hints at a cannibalistic undertone. Sirloin, for instance, is spelled out sirloin, like it is a person's name. And another menu item refers to an exquisite cadaver. When Cruise's character is discovered as an imposter, the man in the red cloak is sitting on a chair with a double eagle on it. The double eagle is the symbol of the Rothschild family and is found on their crest. Kubrick even filmed the salacious scenes inside an actual Rothschild mansion. But the film isn't the movie Kubrick wanted audiences to see. The studio demanded 24 minutes of the original be cut, Much speculation has been made about what might have been in that 24 minutes. Officially, Warner Brothers claimed the editing was necessary in order to obtain an R rating. This explanation doesn't make sense, however, given such a significant portion of a Final Cut film. 24 minutes is more than random clips. It's more likely that an entire scene was removed. A scene that could have been the climax of the entire movie. One that made all others make sense. After all, it was important enough that Kubrick refused to remove it.
I got a call, and he claimed to be one of Kubrick's top assistants before he died. In other words, he was there all the way to the end.
Wow, this is getting good.
And he told me Kubrick kept muttering to himself that the Warner Brothers executives were going to hate his film. And literally, he quoted me as saying, when they see this film, they're going to kill me. Then, on the night that he showed them the film in London, strangely enough, he had taken up smoking again, which he'd been a chain smoker earlier in life, and he kind of slowed down, but apparently, much to this guy's surprise, he was chaining again. And he waited in the lobby, really kind of pale and distant. And then the movie ended, and the door opened, and somebody walked out and said, "Stanley, I need you coming down here." And the door shut, and this guy said that he heard yelling for about 45 minutes, screaming and yelling. And he heard Kubrick say that, you can't change my film. It's in my contract. And then Kubrick stormed out first, and he followed Stanley. And that was the last time we ever saw Stanley.
Wow.
But was Stanley Kubrick really murdered for the secrets he revealed in Eyes Wide Shut? Many researchers say yes, and point to the strange coincidences surrounding the filmmaker's sudden demise.
And this is a guy who'd already done Eyes Wide Shut back in 1999, and then right before the film comes out, Stanley Kubrick ends up dead.
Right.
And he dies the same way that one of the guys died in the film. And the film, of course, exposes the cabal totally. And if you actually get the DVD and you watch Tom Cruise and Nicole Kidman being interviewed for this thing, they are really freaking out about when they're asked questions about Stanley Kubrick's death.
For you, now you look back and you say, well, what if something, no. He
Did he have any heart problem? Fewer now.
The man worked hard. I'd get faxes from him at 3 in the morning, and Christiane was there, and he didn't discuss that, it was sudden, it was shock. No one said, oh, that was expected, especially after a couple of days after talking to him. And
Kubrick died just days after his original cut was presented to the studio. Although he had secured complete creative control over the film, the studio refused to show whatever was in those 24 minutes. So what were they to do? Many believe the Hollywood elites, angry over his expose, murdered Stanley Kubrick so that they could edit the film, and there would be no way he could ever reveal what was in the original version.
Look at Eyes Wide Shut, Stanley Kubrick, who you better believe got invited to things like this. And there's names very similar to George Soros in it as, the bad guy character. And his wife, he finds out, is really an occultist. And he died a day after refusing to cut 24 minutes of it. Well, they cut it. You better believe they cut out of this film.
The timing of his death is also curious, being exactly 666 days before January 1st, 2001. One of Kubrick's most acclaimed films is 2001: A Space Odyssey.
I think the fact that Stanley died exactly 666 days before January 1st, 2001, the first day of the year of his greatest film, that worries me, I have to tell you. I think that's a signal, and I hope to, the heavens above that he wasn't murdered, but somehow that seems like an Illuminati signal.
A Space Odyssey. In death, Kubrick once again blends fiction and reality, as if he himself were a character in this sordid tale. But there's just one problem. Stanley died of a heart attack. Could the Illuminati really make a murder look like a heart attack? In a 1975 Church Committee hearing, it was revealed that the CIA had a weapon capable of doing just that.
Also, I had to find, one time they wanted me to find out if there was such a thing as a poison that was undetectable, especially one that seemed to mimic a heart attack, that would kill someone, but it would appear that they had a heart attack. I did find such a thing.
Does this pistol fire the dart?
Yes, it does, Mr. Chairman, and a special one was developed which potentially would be able to enter the target without perception.
The poison was frozen into some sort of dart, and then it was shot at very high speed into the person. So when it reached the person, it would melt inside them, and the only thing would be like one little tiny red dot on their body, which was hard to detect. There wouldn't be a needle left or anything like that in the person.
But also the toxin itself would not appear in the autopsy?
Yes, so that there was no way of perceiving that the target was hit.
What else did Kubrick show in those 24 minutes? Everyone in the crew signed lengthy contracts and strict confidentiality agreements, so almost no verifiable information is available. However, most rumors contend that it had something to do with the shocking Illuminati mansion party. This type of event actually dates back to ancient times, such as the Greek and Roman Bacchanalia festival, which involved masked orgies as part of the invocation of pagan gods. The old-moneyed European aristocrats have been secretly attending such events for hundreds of years. In fact, Traum Novelle, the story from which Kubrick based the screenplay, was about a couple who experiences a similar party in upper-class Austria around the turn of the century. Austria is near the Bavarian region of Germany, where the original Bavarian Illuminati was founded. Alice is seduced by a hypnotic older gentleman who introduces himself as Sandor Savost, which many believe to be a reference to Anton Sandor LaVey, founder and high priest of the Church of Satan. One of the mysterious women who leads Bill off introduces herself as Nawala Windsor.
Do you know Nawala Windsor?
Alluding to British royalty and their association with the Cabal. One mask in particular is said to bear a resemblance to Bob Hope, who has been named by whistleblowers as an MK Ultra handler.
Before today, you refrain from naming names. Would you like to tell us who was involved in these various activities that you've described before?
Yes, I would, Ted. It's real scary for me, but I'd like to go on public record saying that my owner under mind control was Bob Hope, and that I was abused and used as a mind control sex slave.
Most believe Harford saw something profoundly disturbing at the ritual, perhaps a literal sacrifice or other such bizarre type material. Still, others speculate Kubrick may have exposed the satanic elite's use of children in their bizarre rituals as well. Elite child trafficking rings have come to light in Belgium, the UK, the US, and other countries, proving there's a much more sinister side to these secret parties. Was this what Kubrick was really trying to warn us about? He had already alluded to this theme when Bill goes to the costume shop and encounters a father prostituting his underage daughter. The name of the costume shop is Rainbow Fashions. Rainbows, rainbow symbolism, and Wizard of Oz themes are all related to MK Ultra mind control.
Don't you want to go where the rainbow ends?
And lending credence to this theory is a conversation which allegedly occurred between Nicole Kidman and the acclaimed filmmaker Stanley Kubrick. Kidman claims Kubrick told her pedophiles are running the world, going on to say he told her how the world really works and who is in charge behind the scenes while filming the movie Eyes Wide Shut. If this is what Kubrick exposed in those 24 minutes, no wonder he ended up dead. However, Nicole was never as naive to this sordid world as she may have acted. Her father, Anthony Kidman, was a high-level Luciferian himself, a member of Aleister Crowley's notorious Ordo Templi Orientis, a group that engages in ritual sex magic and ancient pagan rites. He died mysteriously after an Australian named Fiona Barnett formally named him as one of her abusers.
Throughout my childhood, I was a victim of Australia's VIP child sex trafficking ring. For example, I was prostituted to pedophile parties at Parliament House, Canberra, and to an international leader at Fairbairn Military Airport. The people involved in this elite pedophile ring included high-ranking politicians, police, and judiciary.
Kidman's stardom makes a lot more sense once we know about her elite connections. And it should come as no surprise that Kubrick cast her in the film Eyes Wide Shut. His use of a real-life couple at the time, who was also connected to a real Illuminati family, hints to the audience that this movie is not really fiction at all. With its otherworldly chanting, incense, and haunting masks, the bizarre satanic ritual is by far the most memorable scene from Eyes Wide Shut. For the first time ever, viewers were taken into the inner sanctum and shown the sex magic rituals of the Luciferian elite. But there is another scene in the movie that upon closer inspection becomes much more disturbing. At the end of the movie, Harford and his wife Alice take their daughter to a toy store, where the girl seems to go off following two older men. Close observers have noted that these are the same two men seen at the elite Christmas party from the beginning of the movie. No doubt this was deliberate on Kubrick's part. Cruise and Kidman's characters seem oblivious to where their daughter is going. Is it possible that they sold their daughter into this elite group? It is hard to believe, but this does happen among these circles. It is important to note that the toy store scene is saturated in occult imagery. From the stars everywhere in the background to a conspicuously placed board game called Magic Circle, which references the circle used in real black magic, like the circle seen at the ritual party. As they enter the toy store, the girl points out a black, antique-looking baby carriage. Exactly like the iconic one used in the movie Rosemary's Baby, in which a couple sacrifices their firstborn to an upper-class satanic cult in order to advance their status. Also notice the stuffed tigers in the foreground as the girl walks towards the two men. This is the same stuffed tiger found on the bed of the prostitute Bill sees earlier in the movie. The choice of a tiger as the stuffed animal is an obvious reference to MK Ultra beta programming, also known as sex kitten programming, which begins at a young age. Nothing on camera in a movie like this is happenstance. Everything is meticulously chosen and positioned, especially with a Kubrick film. For those with eyes that are wide open, the signs are clear. The Harfords never really escaped the cult, and their daughter is being led like a lamb to slaughter into its arms. Few filmmakers sparked more fascination or intrigue than Stanley Kubrick. Known for his controversial films and unique vision, Kubrick forever changed filmmaking. But his films were much more than visual masterpieces. They used hidden messages and meanings to reveal secret truths about our world and those who run it. In Eyes Wide Shut, Kubrick revealed some of the darkest secrets of the Luciferian elite, from MK Ultra and human trafficking to real-life Illuminati rituals. But revealing such secrets is a dangerous game, one that for Kubrick may have proven deadly. What do you think was in those missing 24 minutes? Let me know in the comments section. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe. As always, a special thanks to my patrons at patreon.com for supporting independent media that exposes the truth.